8 cities, 6 countries, 7 years. Over 80 multi-actor dialogues, 2,000 plus stakeholders, 10 implementation components, countless action plans and policy reviews. These are the figures that define ICLEI Africa's Urban Natural Assets for Africa program. But in looking back, we find that the numbers are only a small part of the story. UNA's real impacts are as dynamic, far-reaching, and layered as the program itself. How does one even begin to touch on the value of an initiative as multifaceted and adaptive as UNA? We'll start at the beginning. Launched in 2014, the UNA program is designed to support local governments in African cities in addressing the many challenges they face around managing and revitalizing their natural resources. Building resilience and ensuring sustainable urban development are at the heart of the program's agenda. But really, it's about much more than that.
First of all, it's a synergy of social justice, equity, and livelihoods, mostly like benefits for people through implementation of nature-based solutions.
Is that it's the very best kind of urban ecology. It's a project that seeks to bring the most relevant and the newest urban ecological understandings into practice.
It's a very dynamic project, it changes a lot, but ultimately it directly addresses the needs of the cities and the people that we work with in a much more inclusive and better way.
Over time, the program has given rise to 3 flagship projects: UNA Africa, UNA Rivers, and UNA Coasts. As activities are based on needs identified by stakeholders themselves, the projects have taken different forms in each of the 8 cities we've worked with. Across them all, though, the focus has remained on using nature-based solutions as a vehicle to tackle a number of complex social, environmental, and economic issues. By targeting governance, finance, and urban planning processes, we have assisted project cities in their quest to embrace sustainable decision-making pathways, to drive real change in the long term. But what has that change actually looked like?
So UNA believes that change comes from within a system. So looking back, I think where UNA has added the most value is in fostering transformative capacities. So what I mean by this is that the program has really helped enable people that have the tools and knowledge to prioritize nature when planning future cities, as well as helped enable processes or enable environments that really integrate sustainability in decision-making at every turn. It's helped establish processes that encourage co-production of knowledge and disrupt power dynamics. And it's also set up the conditions that are conducive for experimentation. It's helped cities embrace more adaptive and flexible policies and processes that are extremely responsive to the realities on the ground. So I know this sounds all very, very complex, but what I'm trying to say is it's really helped create a momentum for an unfolding process of change that should really reach far into the future.
The program is unique in that it prioritizes multi-actor engagements that bring together a diverse range of stakeholders from different backgrounds, many of whom might never have connected before, to collectively reflect, learn, produce knowledge, and problem solve. In so doing, UNA has ignited sparks of inspiration in the spaces between people. It has bridged divides, facilitated systems thinking, brought community members deeper into the conversation, and fostered positive shifts in the way city officials think and work together.
You're bringing together into one space urban ecological best practice and knowledge co-production, and then all the right people. It's like there's almost a kind of alchemy. Yeah, it is, it's catalytic.
These catalytic dialogues also often promote improved coordination between different departments and governance levels, which is critical for accelerated action.
In my view, Lilongwe City is not the way it was. before. This project brought stakeholders that are doing issues of the environment together, and we started seeing things now in a different way. We said, how best can we coordinate so that we work as a family to actually protect urban biodiversity?
In many cases, we found that UNA's collaborative engagements haven't only empowered actors through connections, but have actually helped to open new windows for nature to be properly integrated into land use planning and decision-making, something we refer to as mainstreaming in practice.
So time and time again, we've seen the process of getting people together to create knowledge and give rise to these discussions, these learnings, and these perception changes as critically important and significant enough in themselves to actually drive change in policy and decision-making. So really, we're seeing that co-production exercises are actually incredibly important tools for mainstreaming. In Kampala, for example, having so many different departments together in the same room discussing the development of the natural asset maps actually gave rise to conversations that at the same point in time, there was actually the development of the Disaster Risk Reduction Action Plan happening for the city, and it presented an opportunity to integrate recommendations coming out of the mapping work into the development of that plan. If we didn't have all of these people from all these different backgrounds and different mandates in the one room, then we miss the opportunity of making these connections and unlocking these new opportunities or these new entry points to mainstream nature-based consideration.
Since the introduction of these co-creation spaces, we've seen cities start to embrace cultural and operational shifts that lay the foundations for sustainable change. They've begun to fundamentally alter the way decisions are made, departments are structured, planning is conducted, and policies are designed. In Addis Ababa, for example, a unique pilot project which invited citizens and officials to redesign a rundown site into an urban park has had a lasting impact on the way the city council now functions.
They've realized that actually bringing nature into cities through the small intervention is really, really important. And so now they're looking to see how they can bring nature-based solutions projects into their planning. They've set up a planning department specifically to do nature-based solutions projects. They want to start up a sort of finance strategy to find out how they can get funding to implement nature-based solutions. And they're also looking to develop a greening guideline for the whole city so they can actually replicate what they've done at Ras Mekonnen across the sites.
We've seen related developments in Kisumu and in Dar es Salaam, where UNA is supporting government in upgrading the Tanzania planning guidelines to incorporate nature.
We've had a paradigm shift, particularly as a Department of Environment, in terms of giving prominence to planning for natural assets within the urban space. I think our engagement with UNA has really made a difference. The city is currently in the process, at the tail end of concluding a process of local urban detailed physical plan, and alongside that developing development control manual and land use zoning policies or regulations. And all this, we're happy to say that as a department, we are mainstreaming the principles of UNA so that indeed we are able to institutionalize and mainstream protection and conservation of the city's natural assets.
From the UNA project, we have changed the way on making decisions on our day-to-day activities. Like we have shaped our annual budget and the work plan within a city. We integrated management of natural urban assets in our different departments. So each department knows the importance of managing natural urban assets.
Similarly, in Lilongwe, Financial reallocation will help to sustain an Una Rivers restoration project in the long term.
Each and every year we'll be including it in our city budget, city annual budget, so that the programs that have started should not stop, but they should continue.
Because enabled people are as central to transformation as supportive policies, UNA has invested much energy into designing exercises that build agency and capacity. In this way, we have armed thousands with not just concrete tools and informational assets, but the knowledge and confidence to develop their own solutions and take practices forward far into the future.
Program has provided the cities with a portfolio of new resources and tools through capacity building and mapping of natural resources and all kinds of interventions at different levels. I think that all of this, put together has put the cities in a much better position for being able to continue on their own.
In Lilongwe, the portfolio of resources we made available to public officials included comprehensive guidelines that will help them further efforts to rehabilitate a key river corridor.
The fact that the Una Rivers project went in and provided trainings around river management means that the Lilongwe City Council is now able to identify similar projects that they can take forward by themselves, and of course using the learnings from the Una Rivers project.
The urban natural asset hotspot maps that UNA has co-developed with various cities have also contributed significantly to capacitating planners. They now have tangible tools at their fingertips that make it easier than ever before to keep nature top of mind when making decisions.
We see them to help institutions a lot because they are the first or the basic where we can depend on when we are producing our strategic plans.
The program has also helped to open eyes to new ways of tackling old challenges. The UNA team recognizes that planning approaches inherited from the global north aren't always relevant to the unique African context. With this in mind, UNA consistently embraces experimentation in an attempt to find innovative solutions that are tailored to local realities. Solutions that make sense to the people implementing them. We have tested new methods for analyzing the opportunities of a site, developed cutting-edge tools for assessing urban decision contexts, pioneered novel ways to include marginalized groups in decision-making processes, and piloted creative African-grown approaches to planning that harness nature for resilience. One such approach is urban tinkering, which makes small, low-cost adjustments to existing urban elements to make the landscape as a whole more resilient.
Our biggest learning up to date from urban tinkering approach is the appropriateness within the context of the community. The approach is fairly simple to undertake. It is fairly easy to integrate community participation, and it's quite an exciting experience because unlike many planning processes that are done on desktop, this one actually takes you to where the problems are, to where people are most affected, and you engage with the people most affected, and the solutions are bottom up.
Such experimental methods have great potential, not just for other cities dealing with similarly complex challenges, but for a whole world that needs new ways of thinking and doing.
We've had the freedom to test and fail and adapt and try again. And the methods and learnings that have come out of this process could possibly help map the way forward for elsewhere in the world. So in this way, UNA has contributed both to the development of knowledge and practice that have global significance.
Alongside facilitating top-level change, the program has successfully implemented a wide range of practical on-the-ground interventions that we are now working with stakeholders to up and outscale. These activities have helped cities to localize international agendas, like the Strategic Plan for Biodiversity, the Paris Agreement and the Sendai Framework, and take tangible steps that contribute toward the achievement of national targets.
We most often turn to the UNA program's implementation projects as examples of exactly this, localizing these international agendas from a biodiversity, climate change and disaster risk reduction perspective in an interlinked and overlaid way. And these implementation projects don't just show how these global agreements can be localized, but they also provide a multitude of tangible benefits for local community members, which is absolutely essential. One such implementation was a composting facility which enabled the employment of women and has led to over 15 tons of compost being produced from organic waste that would likely have ended up in the Lilongwe River, polluting it.
Many other UNA interventions have similarly helped to build livelihoods, upgrade environments, and enhance human well-being. All along the way, UNA teams have also been sure to document the insights that have emerged from such projects, so these can be fed back up to inform the international conversation and shape the design of future global agendas.
Through a variety of mechanisms, platforms, partnerships, we regularly feed UNA's experience and lessons into the biodiversity and the climate change community at large. We feed the African recommendations to our advisory board members, one of which is a key champion in the CBD, and the other one is a key author in the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change. We've also developed a series of handbooks, which each show different learning or different consideration and are supported by a case study. And we funded representatives to participate in the events in the development of the post-2020 Global Biodiversity Framework. So like this and through many other channels, we really are trying to make a difference in the international advocacy playing field.
Making an impact on a larger scale is key. But time and again, the UNA team has found that the changes that matter most are often those that happen on a micro level. The small shifts in thinking, the blossoming of awareness, the learnings that can never be unlearned.
Well, the UNA program has helped us appreciate our natural assets. Before we were taking them for granted.
That is an indication that there is a growing consciousness of our natural assets and the need to conserve them.
Nós não priorizamos a natureza. Nós daqui a pouco podemos perder tudo. Então qualquer projeto, qualquer coisa que eu faço, a primeira condição que eu penso antes de nem começar é a sustentabilidade.
The biggest learning I've learned from the UNA project has been the importance of local actors learning together and crafting solutions.
I did not know that there are other entities that are doing a lot in the environment, but now we are coordinated. This platform will continue.
Actually makes me very proud that we, ICLEI, Swedbio and all the other partners that have contributed to the program were brave enough to develop this, in my mind, cutting edge development cooperation project or program that is based on actual city needs.
I'm so proud to be an UNA person, and it's been a real honor being part of this project.
I see what UNA is trying to do in different countries, and I see the legacy that UNA is trying to leave in each of these countries and cities. So I really am proud of it.
What I'm most excited about is the vast amount of scope of what we've been able to achieve in the last 7 years. We've really touched on so many key African issues. It really hasn't been just a project. It hasn't just been about deliverables. It's been about building better processes and a family of champions that drive nature mainstreaming for improved urban resilience. And this is actually exactly what we did. And so, well, I think that's really, really significant.